Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Aphrodite, aka Madam Suave. If you are new here, I would like to welcome you to the community. Be sure to check the description box down below and like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to, okay? So I was supposed to do my hair today. That did not end up happening. Well, technically yesterday now. That did not end up happening. However, I did go ahead and do the message. So I was like, let me just go ahead and get this out that way. Technically later on today I can go ahead and just focus on my hair, okay? And y'all know I simply just don't care to be seen, so this is as good as it's gonna get today, okay? Or tonight, whenever you are seeing this, okay? Good morning, good evening, whenever you are seeing this. But all right, so as I was doing this message, I was thinking that it was potentially going to be a bit longer because as I was getting into it, I was like, hold on, it may become a bit more complex than I was thinking. And we never know. After I go ahead and deliver this message, more may come in. But for now, I think this is a good place to start and that it accomplished what I intended for it to, okay? So the title of the message is The Resonance of God, okay? God's priorities are my priorities. My integrity is in alignment with the integrity and the everlasting will of God, okay? So now, I guess I should say, okay, remember we talked about recently, hold on, what did I completely say? Lord have mercy. Oh, yes. Okay. So recently I mentioned that spiritual law is covenantal and relational. Okay. So this is going to be, I guess, in continuance of that. All right. So now there are multiple covenants in the Bible. Okay. But right now, right here, we are talking about the new covenant. Okay. The redemptive covenant, the covenant of redemption. Okay. Because it is the ruling covenant of today. However, every covenant made in the Bible by God, be that relational and by relation, okay? However, we are going to examine the meaning of covenantal and relational separately to witness how they tie in together to bind a bond to honor the promises of God, all right? Okay, so a covenant we already know is partnership, but we are going to break it down even further. So covenantal, we have co indicating a partnership towards a common place or goal, okay? So we also have cove. A cove is a hidden covering or shelter. And then we have an or on, expressing entry into the specified state or location. So in this case, state equals form and the indwelling of, okay? Now, non is a type of leavened bread, okay? Leaven is symbolical of sin, corruption, and or false teaching, okay? Now, nan in mathematics is an undefined or unrepresentable numerical or principle, okay? Results in computing. So think demonic principalities. Also, missing data or invalid calculations not equal to itself, all right? So now the message, the seed of man, that I have previously posted will be a reference video, okay, to anyone new here or who may need a reminder, okay? So, but being made in the image of God is not the same as being made in his likeness, okay? And the only time man was made after God's referred to as our likeness, so both the feminine and the masculine, or the wholeness of God, was before the fall of man, okay, and after the birth or rising of Christ, which is not a person, but the indwelling spirit of God, okay? So image means the materialization or physical components, okay? Likeness is the substantiation, filling of the spirit or the sustenance of God to be the full manifestation of God, okay? Now, tal, T-A-L, okay, equals valley, do, such or, and such like, all right? Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it, okay? Now, the suffix al means relating to, characterized by, or pertaining to. So, relational, okay? We have relate, relativity, or relativity, okay? So, Now, that E is found both in covenantal and relational, symbolizing energetic emission or key for entry, okay? Meaning my power and authority come from on high because the frequency that I carry is resonant to the power and authority of God, okay? I'm going to insert a screenshot on the screen, okay, that I had previously posted before. So capacity must be stretched before impact is increased. Otherwise, you increase risk without the capacity to endure and the integrity to mend or tend to fallout and push past the resistance whilst remaining in integrity, okay? So spirit has a way of gatekeeping organically from the fleshly minded and the fleshly driven, okay? So never blindly enter a war that you are not equipped for, especially without knowing what or who you are going up against. So when you attempt to weaponize what you do not understand or what you do not yet understand, because you do not understand, meaning you are in fight or flight mode, okay? Because you do not understand and cannot wield it, it becomes a weapon against yourself, okay? So it is better to humble yourself within the reach of your capacity than to get made a fool out of, okay? Now, the most foolish thing that you could do is be prideful, okay? So that is the only time that you should feel like a fool, not for not knowing, but for not being able to admit that you do not know, okay? All right. So for this next portion, the message titled, okay, that I also previously posted, Universal Law to Establish Collective Understanding, will be another reference point if needed, okay? So the letter T in both covenantal and relational is going to be symbolical of the cross, or the intersection between the spiritual and the physical plane. So when we talk about Christ fulfilling the law or taking on the law, what does that mean? It means becoming the law, becoming the nature of spirit that operates by natural law or metaphysical function / principle of nature and spirit, or the spiritual nature, okay? In other words, I am the law by nature, and by nature I am revealing the true nature of God, okay? So when you are born of God, meaning you carry the seed of impartation and the indwelling of his spirit, you are not born into the bondage of sin, but the state or the condition, also the atmosphere or realm of sin, okay? So remember those reference videos that I have stated in this video, okay? And I do encourage you, if you have not watched those and you are seeking further understanding, to go ahead and watch them and take your time with them, okay? But I am going to break it down some further here as well, okay? So sin is not defined or weighed by the law of man for those who are free from the law, okay? Sin is defined by nature or origin of nature. So covenant holds you accountable and keeps you, because if I sin against myself. Because by nature, my spirit is law and covenant my moral grounds, okay? And I cannot betray God without betraying myself. And I have also spoken on this before as well, okay? So sin is moral corruption, or to be devoid of God, okay? This is to have no relation to God, okay? The attempts of Satan to replicate God's perfection, okay? And if you are devoid of God, you cannot be in covenant with God, because you must be in resonance to be in alignment, okay? So sin is to be incomplete, okay? Now I want you to catch that word, incomplete, but also incomplete, okay? To be in complete separation from God, and to be in complete separation from God is to be born apart from God, okay? So covenant is not just a promise. Covenant is an agreement and a contract fulfilled, once again, okay, you guessed it, by nature, okay? Now, had Noah not followed instructions, there wouldn't be nobody to make a covenant with, all right? So I will say it again, you better read the fine print, okay? He said he wouldn't flood the earth again. He ain't never said he wouldn't sink your ship, though. And you have to have the ears to hear and the spirit to listen, to follow instructions, okay? The ones he gave to Noah were very precise. And if you cannot follow simple ones, you cannot follow the more complex, all right? So that is the end of today's message. I hope that you got something from this message. I hope that you enjoyed this message. And if you did get anything from this message, or if you simply resonate with me, my channel, my content, etc., I do ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. And I will see you guys on next time. Love you all so much, and goodbye.